Twitch, everybody's favorite streaming platform, home to millions of streamers all over the world. You have something you're super passionate about? There's probably a niche for that on Twitch, so long as it's within the terms of service, obviously. I know there's some real weirdos out there roaming in the wild. From games like Minecraft to GTA to Dungeons & Dragons to creating art, there truly is something for everyone, if you know what you're looking for. Hey, there's even a place for you if you're into watching cute women sitting in hot tubs now, apparently. Some people are just into that kind of thing. I'm not gonna judge. Okay, man, I'm gonna judge a little bit. A tiny bit of judgment. I'm just gonna throw that in there. But like literally everything else in the entire known universe, it's not all fun and games on Twitch.tv. Because Twitch is still mostly known as a place where people stream video games. Yeah, okay, that wasn't great. Sorry, I was trying to make it dramatic. Let's move on. My point is that sometimes things go really, really wrong. And as much as these megacorporations try to tell us all otherwise, they're still run by human beings who are capable of making mistakes. Well, in theory. Who knows? Maybe they are just all slitheen in disguise waiting to take over the world. I don't know. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe the lizard people fanatics out there were right all along after all.
I am not a lizard.
I apologize. You're not here for my conspiracy theories about aliens taking over the world and ruling over all of us. But wouldn't it be kind of fun if that was what was going on? Instead of, corporate greed and capitalism ruining the planet, I'm just saying I know which one I wish was real life and which one was the horror story we told our kids. But okay, enough. I get it. Time to get serious and talk about all the ways that Twitch really sucks. But before I do, I've got to give you the usual plug. You know what I'm about to say. Can you please make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell while you're there, okay? That way, you won't accidentally miss other videos just like this one. And let's be honest, why would you want to? These videos are pretty great, if I do say so myself. I mean, my mom likes them. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into it. I think the best way of doing this is to split it up into subcategories. I've got things to say, and some of them aren't really connected to anything else. So, subcategories, kind of like a list video, just without the numbers, and I'm not really ranking them by how terrible I think they are. Okay, so like a list video second cousin 3 times removed, you get the point. Okay, folks, kicking off our list. Nah, I'm just kidding. We're not doing a list video. But the first thing I want to talk about is an overarching problem that is very specific to Twitch. Their mod team. Now, I realize that having a group of mods in a place to make sure people are following the rules isn't something unique to Twitch. I know that, thanks. I'm not trying to say that the idea of having moderators was a brand new invention that no one had ever considered before Twitch showed up, not at all. Stumble onto literally any online forum, subreddit, or Discord server with more than 20 people and you're going to find a group of mods working hard to keep the peace. Hell, a lot of people on Twitch even have their own personal mods monitoring the chats. But there is a huge difference between mods on, say, a Discord server with 20 people and the mod team in charge of a website with millions of users. The people on Discord are limited to that one space, right? They can't use their powers, so to speak, in some other servers. Their power is contained to that one server. They can't carry it over to another one. They'd have to be given permission by the owner of the next server. I know what you might be thinking at this point. Well, obviously, there's a difference between doing it casually and doing it as a job. Am I right, my guy? And you are right, my guy. There is a huge difference. But that's kind of my point. That's why there's such a problem with Twitch's official mod team. Their power is not limited. They're not even really held accountable for what they're doing. There are no checks and balances in place to make sure that they're not taking advantage of their powers. They've got complete free reign over who they ban and when they ban them because Twitch trusts them to use their own discretion and to act as they see fit. Twitch trusts them so much, in fact, that there's barely any communication between the mod team and any other branch of the company. Does that not seem a little weird to anybody else? Maybe it's just me, but surely the people who are directly in contact with your user base are the people that need to be monitored the most? Because as it stands, they're not really doing the job they were hired for in the first place. Don't believe me? Just look at the number of people who have been given bans for using the N-word or other racial slurs when they didn't. Here, to save you some time, I'll give you some examples free of charge. TF Blade and Pink Ward, two League of Legends streamers who received bans because the mod team misheard them. Yeah, ironically enough, you heard that right.
What?
They were banned because a member of the mod team misheard them. Pink Ward's ban wasn't even lifted, it was permanent. The mod team is responsible for completely ruining a guy's career just because they didn't get their ears checked and refused to investigate it. And you want to know what makes all of this even worse? No one even knows who they are. They're all completely anonymous. This means that if something does happen to your channel, you have no real way of reaching out to try and fix it because no one knows who's responsible in the first place. It is messed up. Anyway, all this talk of dumb Twitch bans and rogue moderators brings me to the next thing that I want to talk about, or the next person I want to talk about. I guess that would be more accurate. Jon Zherka. Now, whether or not you know who Jon Zherka is or not really isn't important here. Sure, he was a popular streamer with over 100,000 followers on Twitch, but that doesn't mean you have to know him. There are people out there who use YouTube every single day and somehow have no idea who Jake Paul is. I wish that were me. Please teach me your ways. Anyway, back on topic. I think that Jon's case in particular really highlights just how stupid some of these bans really are. The first time that Twitch banned him was back in 2019. The reason? Well, to be honest, no one really knows why they did it. There was never any kind of official reason given for it. It just happened one day. He woke up to find that he'd been temporarily banned. It made a lot of people really happy because Jon was pretty controversial at the time. He was super loud and super obnoxious and was just generally really chaotic. His personality was the kind that you either loved or hated, and there was absolutely no in between. But you know, the ban was only temporary, so it didn't take him very long to make a comeback. Which also didn't last for very long because 6 months later he was hit with another one. Hey, it's longer than some marriages last, so I guess could have been worse. The reason for it this time? Somebody flashed the camera during one of Jon's streams. He liked going out and just talking to people during his streams, and on one occasion, a woman he was talking to decided to pull her shirt down and reveal herself to the camera. Now, obviously, this goes against Twitch's terms of service, and they're well within their rights to crack down on the people that break them. However, there's an obvious lack of wiggle room here that I find really strange because it wasn't Jon's fault. It's kind of like the time they banned Aiden Ross because someone else used a homophobic slur during one of his streams. Yeah, obviously, this is the kind of behavior you should be regulating, but you're going about it in the wrong way. You can't blame Aiden or Jon for the actions of other people, right? That's just not fair. It's not like they knew what was going to happen. They weren't encouraging it. In fact, Jon immediately turned the camera away as soon as he realized what was happening. This was, again, temporary, but again, it didn't last because early in 2021, Jon was banned again, and this time it seems to be permanent. You try looking him up on Twitch and his channel is gone. There's nothing left. I will say though that this time it was actually Jon's fault. He was on Tinder, which does go against the terms of service. And on top of all that, he paused on a picture of two women for bikinis for too long. Twitch's words, not mine. But I think this whole situation sparks an interesting conversation. What's the difference between Jon scrolling through Tinder and the hot tub meta? Now, don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against the hot tub meta. Use that loophole to your advantage, I 100% support you. But why is there one rule for women dressed in bikinis on stream and another for a guy who pauses on a picture similar to that? It doesn't make sense to me. Alright, final point now, you're about to see why I insisted on these subcategories to start with. It's not just Twitch mods going insane with power and throwing their weight around for no real reason. Oh, no. That would be one thing, don't get me wrong, it's bad. But I think that if enough time and energy was put into fixing the problem, then things could change. But it's not just the mod team. There's a fundamental problem with Twitch, mainly the way that they've been handling DMCA copyright strikes. The problem started back in 2020, when a large number of Twitch users were getting copyright strikes on their content. Enough strikes in their content, and sometimes their channels? Yeah, even their channels started getting deleted. In November, Twitch released an article that basically just said they were as surprised as anyone else, which has gotta be a lie. I don't believe you, Twitch! You say yourself in that article that you'd already been getting 50 strikes a year before the crackdown started. Sure, that number might not seem that big in comparison to the number of users, but that's still 1 strike almost every week. That's not nothing. You can't just ignore it and then act like you had no idea. Anyway, their solution to this was not to try and get the correct licensing or work with the organizations involved to find a solution. That would have been the responsible thing to do. And if there's anything we've learned here today, it's that Twitch doesn't do responsibility and accountability. No, their solution was to not use music during your streams, and to delete any content that included copyrighted music. Completely failing to mention that deleting your content wouldn't even be enough to protect you. Multiple people had already deleted their content and they still got copyright strikes against them. They spent the whole article talking about how they'd failed their user base. They admit to the things they did wrong, including not giving their users enough notice before the strike started being issued. 3 days, in case you were curious. Twitch gave their users 3 days notice, and they didn't even make an official announcement about it. And they still have the nerve to act like they're not to blame. At the end of May, they announced that another wave of takedown notices was on its way. So, it's good to see that they've tried to fix the problem. But that's all the time I got for today. What do you guys think? Did Twitch do enough to prepare their users for the copyright claims? Do you think the mod team needs some kind of accountability? Or do you think everything's fine and they don't need to change anything? Anyway, however you feel, let us know in the comments below.